Have you ever wondered if a simple test could actually predict how long you might live? It may sound unbelievable, but doctors and researchers are now saying that these little physical challenges can reveal more about your health than expensive machines or complicated checkups. Imagine sitting in your living room, and with just one small movement, you could discover something about your body's future. Sounds intriguing, right? This is not just another internet trick. This is backed by science and real stories from seniors across America. After all, as we grow older, the things we once took for granted, like standing up, bending down, or balancing on one leg, turn out to be powerful signals of longevity. Take the story of Martha, a 72-year-old retired teacher from Dallas, Texas. She once thought she was perfectly healthy because she never felt sick. But when her doctor asked her to try what seemed like a very basic test, sitting on the floor and standing back up without using her hands, she realized it wasn't as easy as she thought. Martha stumbled, leaned heavily on her knee, and felt her heart racing. That moment was a wake-up call. The doctor explained that the ability to perform this test is closely linked to muscle strength, balance, flexibility, and overall health. These are the silent markers of aging that most seniors avoid paying attention to until it's almost too late. Why is this so important? According to a study published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology, people over 50 who struggled with this exact test had a significantly higher risk of mortality in the following years compared to those who could do it with ease. That's right, the most basic movements, the things you think don't matter, can become indicators of how strong your body still is. And the science behind it makes sense. Muscles act like the solder that holds your body together, supporting your bones, protecting your joints, and keeping your heart strong. Without that strength, every other system starts to break down. The truth is, aging isn't just about wrinkles on the outside, it's about what happens inside your body. Habits you form daily, like walking, stretching, or even how you get up from a chair, can either protect your future or slowly take it away. That's why you must not ignore these tests and movements. They are not meant to scare you but to empower you, to show you that there is still time to build better routines and avoid the traps that so many seniors fall into. Because once you realize the connection between small movements and long-term health, you'll see aging in a whole new light. So stay with me until the end of this video, because what you're about to learn might change the way you see your body forever. And trust me, you don't want to miss the real-life stories and scientific evidence that prove this simple test could actually mean the difference between living long and living well. 1. The sit-to-stand test, more than just movement. When most people hear about the sit-to-stand test, they laugh and say, "That's too easy, anyone can do that." But the truth is, this test is one of the most powerful predictors of future independence for seniors. It looks simple. You sit down on the floor and then try to stand up without using your hands, arms, or knees. Yet beneath this simplicity lies a full evaluation of your strength, balance, flexibility, and cardiovascular capacity. In other words, this one action brings together many of the most important things your body needs to stay alive and healthy after the age of 60. Let's look at John, a 68-year-old veteran from Cleveland, Ohio. John always prided himself on being tough. After all, he was a former soldier in the U.S. Army. He thought he was still in pretty good shape, despite not exercising regularly for the past decade. His granddaughter challenged him to try the sit-to-stand test after seeing it on a health program. To his shock, John could not get up without pressing one hand to the floor and pushing off his knee. He laughed it off at first, but his granddaughter insisted they look it up. What they found was surprising. Struggling with this movement increases the risk of falls, bone fractures, and even early death. For John, it was a wake-up call to change his daily habits. Research confirms this. A Brazilian study that followed over 2,000 adults found that those who scored poorly on the sit-to-stand test were nearly 7 times more likely to die in the next 6 years compared to those who passed easily. That's a staggering number. Why? Because this test measures the synergy of multiple systems: muscle power, joint mobility, coordination, and balance. Weakness in any of these areas means your body is aging faster on the inside than you may realize. And for seniors, these things can determine whether you remain independent or rely on others for even the most basic tasks. It's important to understand that this isn't about athletic ability, it's about survival. For seniors, being able to rise from the ground without assistance means you can recover if you fall, you can maintain your balance while moving through daily routines, and you can avoid the spiral of injuries that often begins with one simple accident. Think about it, most elderly hospitalizations start with a fall. And falls don't just hurt bones, they reduce confidence, create fear, and often push people into inactivity. That inactivity then leads to muscle loss, slower metabolism, heart problems, and eventually loss of independence. This is why you must pay attention. Avoid dismissing these simple tests as child's play. They are not games. They are reflections of your body's true condition. If you struggle with the sit to stand, it doesn't mean you've failed, it means you've been given a valuable warning sign. And the earlier you receive that warning, the more time you have to improve your strength, build better habits, and protect your future health. So the next time someone challenges you with a simple test like this, don't ignore it. Take it seriously. It might just be the most important 5 seconds of your life. 2. Balance and longevity, why stability matters. When you think about health, the first things that come to mind might be diet, exercise, or blood pressure. But did you know that your ability to balance, yes, something as simple as standing on one leg, can predict how long you might live? Balance is often overlooked, yet it is one of the most powerful indicators of overall strength and brain health in seniors. After all, staying steady is not just about your legs, it's about coordination between your muscles, nervous system, and inner ear. If one of these systems starts to weaken, your entire stability is compromised. And when balance goes, independence often follows. Take the example of Eleanor, a 74-year-old grandmother from Portland, Oregon. Eleanor had always been active in her garden and loved baking with her grandchildren. But when her doctor asked her to do a simple balance test, standing on one foot for 10 seconds, she wobbled and fell sideways. It shocked her. "I didn't think it was a big deal," she admitted later, but my doctor explained that losing balance is one of the earliest signs that your health is declining. He told her that people who struggle with balance are at higher risk of falls, and falls are among the most dangerous things seniors face. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, 1 out of 4 adults over 65 falls each year, and these incidents are the leading cause of injury-related deaths among older adults in the United States. Scientific studies back this up. A 2022 study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that older adults who could not balance on one leg for at least 10 seconds had nearly double the risk of death in the next decade compared to those who could. Think about that, 10 seconds could tell you something about the next 10 years of your life. The connection is simple: balance requires strong muscles, sharp reflexes, and an alert brain. If you lack these things, your body is signaling that it's losing its protective systems. The good news? Balance can be trained. Seniors must not think it's too late. Even after 70, exercises like Tai Chi, yoga, or just practicing standing on one foot while brushing your teeth can improve stability dramatically. Eleanor, after realizing her weakness, started a daily habit of short balance practices and light strength training. Within 6 months, she proudly reported that she could stand on one foot for 20 seconds without shaking. "It gave me my confidence back," she said. That confidence doesn't just feel good, it saves lives. Now, I want to pause here and ask you, my dear viewers, are you still with me at this point in the video? If yes, then type number 2 in the comments right now. This will show me that you are paying attention and that you truly care about your future health. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Golden Age Wisdom so more seniors around the world can learn how these simple habits can transform their lives. Remember, balance is not just about staying upright, it's about living longer, safer, and with dignity. And if something this simple can help extend your years, isn't it worth practicing every single day? 3. Flexibility and the hidden secrets of aging. When most people think of getting older, they imagine stiff joints, sore backs, and limited mobility. But flexibility is not just about being able to touch your toes or twist your body, it's about how well your muscles, joints, and connective tissues work together to keep you moving. Flexibility is one of the most underestimated aspects of health, yet it plays a massive role in preventing injuries, maintaining independence, and even supporting heart and lung function. For seniors, the ability to bend, reach, or stretch without pain can mean the difference between living comfortably at home or needing constant assistance. Consider the story of Richard, a 70-year-old retired firefighter from Phoenix, Arizona. He was strong, he could still carry groceries, and he didn't think much about his flexibility. But one day, when he bent down to pick up a laundry basket, he felt a sharp pain in his lower back. It turned out he had strained a muscle simply because his hamstrings and hips had become too tight over the years. His doctor explained something important: poor flexibility is not just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. Tight muscles restrict blood flow, limit mobility, and increase the chance of sudden injuries. Richard realized that while strength had been his focus for most of his life, flexibility was the missing piece that held everything together. Scientific research supports this. According to the Journal of Aging Research, older adults with higher flexibility scores had lower levels of inflammation and better cardiovascular health. That's because stretching improves circulation, reduces stress hormones, and helps maintain proper posture. These things may sound small, but they add up to better overall health after retirement age. In fact, the American College of Sports Medicine recommends that seniors perform flexibility exercises at least 2 to 3 times per week to reduce stiffness and maintain independence. The most inspiring part is that flexibility can be improved at any age. Richard started with simple daily stretches, reaching toward his toes, gently twisting his spine, and practicing shoulder rolls. At first, it was frustrating. He could barely reach past his knees. But after a few months, he found that he could bend with ease, pick things up from the floor without fear, and even join his grandchildren in simple yoga sessions. "It gave me freedom again," Richard said. "I didn't realize how much I had lost until I got it back." Flexibility is often compared to the solder in machinery, the thing that connects and holds everything together. Without it, the machine falls apart, even if the other parts are strong. For seniors, flexibility works the same way. Muscles and joints that move freely reduce pressure on the heart, lungs, and bones, helping the entire body function smoothly. That's why seniors must avoid ignoring stretching in their routines. It's not just for athletes or dancers, it's for anyone who wants to live longer and avoid unnecessary pain. In the end, flexibility is not about bending into complex yoga poses or impressing others. It's about creating a body that supports your life, day in and day out. These small habits, 5 minutes of stretching in the morning or evening, may be the key to unlocking a longer, healthier future. And when you think about it, what could be more important than the simple ability to move without fear or pain? 4. Strength, the engine of longevity. If flexibility is the solder that holds your body together, then strength is the engine that keeps everything moving. Without strong muscles, even the most basic things, like climbing stairs, carrying groceries, or opening a jar, become nearly impossible. For seniors, strength is not about building big biceps, it's about preserving independence and protecting the body from decline. The most important message here is simple: if you don't use your muscles, you lose them. And once they're gone, it becomes much harder to rebuild them. Let me share the story of Linda, a 69-year-old retired librarian from Buffalo, New York. Linda always believed that walking around her neighborhood was enough exercise. But when her doctor suggested she try lifting light weights to build strength, she shrugged it off. "I'm too old for that," she said. 1 year later, she tripped while carrying laundry and fractured her hip. During her recovery, her doctor explained that the fall was not just an accident, it was the result of years of muscle loss, a condition called sarcopenia. This is something that most seniors face after 60. Sarcopenia not only weakens the body but also slows down metabolism, reduces energy, and increases the risk of chronic diseases like diabetes and heart problems. Data shows how serious this is. According to the National Institute on Aging, adults lose between 3% to 8% of muscle mass per decade after the age of 30, and the rate accelerates after 60. That means if seniors avoid strength-building habits, their bodies become weaker and more fragile every single year. But the good news is that this trend can be reversed. Studies published in the Journal of the American Medical Association reveal that seniors who engage in regular resistance training, even simple bodyweight exercises, can rebuild muscle, improve balance, and reduce the risk of death by nearly 20%. Linda's story didn't end with her hip fracture. After months of physical therapy, she decided to give strength training a try. She started small, lifting 2-pound weights, doing chair squats, and using resistance bands. Slowly, she began to notice changes. She could carry her groceries without struggling, climb the stairs with confidence, and even play with her grandchildren without feeling exhausted. "I realized I wasn't too old to get stronger," she said. "I just needed to start." And that's the key lesson for every senior. Strength is not about building a bodybuilder's physique, it's about giving yourself the power to live fully. These things, small, consistent exercises, matter more than you realize. You must make them a part of your habits if you want to avoid the spiral of weakness that so many older adults face. Now, before we move forward, let me ask you something. Are you still watching this video closely? If yes, type number 4 in the comments right now. This shows me that you are committed to learning and ready to take charge of your health. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Golden Age Wisdom, because these lessons can truly save lives. Remember, strength is the engine of longevity. Without it, even the most ordinary parts of life become a struggle. But with it, you can face aging with confidence, energy, and dignity. 5. Breathing, endurance, and the heart of life. When we talk about living longer, we often focus on muscles, bones, and balance. But one of the most overlooked pillars of longevity is endurance, the ability of your heart and lungs to keep working efficiently. After all, your muscles can only move if your heart pumps blood and your lungs deliver oxygen. For seniors, cardiovascular fitness is not about running marathons or competing in races. It's about ensuring that everyday activities, walking to the mailbox, climbing stairs, or playing with grandchildren, don't leave you gasping for breath. Take George, a 75-year-old retired bus driver from Miami, Florida. For years, George thought that as long as he wasn't overweight, he was healthy. But when he noticed he couldn't walk more than a block without needing to stop and catch his breath, he realized something was wrong. His doctor suggested a simple endurance test, walking as far as he could in 6 minutes. George barely made it halfway around the track before he had to stop. The results showed what his doctor already suspected: his cardiovascular endurance was far below average for his age. George later learned that endurance is one of the strongest predictors of mortality in older adults. The less endurance you have, the higher your risk of heart disease, stroke, and early death. Science confirms this. A long-term study by the American Heart Association found that low cardiorespiratory fitness was associated with higher death rates in seniors, regardless of weight or blood pressure. In fact, endurance capacity, measured by simple walking or step tests, was found to be one of the most reliable indicators of survival after age 65. These findings make one thing clear: endurance is not optional. It is something every senior must protect and build, even if it means starting with small steps. George decided to take action. His doctor recommended walking 10 minutes a day, gradually increasing the time and pace. At first, George felt embarrassed because even a short walk left him sweating. But he stuck with it, turning it into a daily habit. After 6 months, he was able to walk for 30 minutes without stopping. More importantly, his blood pressure improved, his energy levels rose, and his doctor reported that his heart function was stronger. George's story proves that endurance can be rebuilt, even after years of neglect. What many people don't realize is that endurance also protects the brain. Aerobic exercise increases blood flow, delivering oxygen and nutrients that keep memory sharp and reduce the risk of dementia. A study in the Journal of Gerontology showed that seniors who engaged in regular walking or cycling had better cognitive performance than those who remained sedentary. That means building endurance doesn't just add years to your life, it adds clarity to those years. In the bigger picture, endurance ties everything together. Flexibility, balance, and strength all rely on a strong cardiovascular system. Without it, your body cannot perform these things effectively. That's why endurance exercises, walking, swimming, cycling, or even dancing, must be part of your weekly habits. They don't just keep your body moving, they keep your heart beating and your mind alive. So, the next time you feel tempted to avoid that daily walk or skip that light exercise, remember, endurance is the heart of life itself. And just like any engine, if you don't use it, it begins to rust. But if you nurture it, it will carry you farther than you ever imagined. Closing, a simple test, a longer life. We began this journey with a question: could a simple test really predict how long you might live? After walking through stories of seniors from across America, hearing their struggles and triumphs, and looking at the science that supports these findings, the answer is clear: yes, these tests matter. The ability to sit and stand without help, to balance for 10 seconds, to stretch without pain, to lift small weights with confidence, and to walk with endurance, these things are not just exercises. They are windows into your future health. They reveal whether your body is aging gracefully or whether it's quietly calling for help. Think about Martha in Dallas, who realized her muscles were weaker than she thought. Or John in Cleveland, the former soldier who discovered his strength had faded. Or Eleanor in Portland, who nearly fell during a balance test. Or Richard in Phoenix, who regained freedom through flexibility. Or Linda in Buffalo, who built back her strength after a hip fracture. Or George in Miami, who reclaimed his endurance step by step. Each of these seniors had a choice: to ignore the warning signs or to take action. And each story shows us that it's never too late to rebuild, to form new habits, and to protect the years ahead. The science is undeniable. Research after research shows that seniors who practice these small tests and maintain these habits live longer, healthier, and more independent lives. They avoid unnecessary hospital visits, they reduce the risk of chronic diseases, and most importantly, they gain confidence in their daily routines. Longevity is not about luck, it's about choices. You must decide whether you will avoid the traps of inactivity or embrace the habits that can change everything. And here's the beauty of it: these changes don't require expensive equipment, extreme diets, or hours at the gym. They start with simple, practical steps you can do at home: standing up without using your hands, practicing balance while brushing your teeth, stretching for 5 minutes in the morning, lifting light objects, or walking around your block. These are not things reserved for athletes or the young. They are designed for you, for seniors who want to live not just longer, but better. So, as we close this video, I want to ask you, are you ready to take these lessons seriously? If you've made it all the way to this point, type number 6 in the comments to let me know you're still with us and that you care about your future. And please, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Golden Age Wisdom. By doing so, you're not just helping yourself, you're spreading knowledge that can transform the lives of other seniors around the world. Remember, life is not measured only by the number of years, but by the quality of those years. A simple test today could be the key to 10 more years of laughter, love, and freedom tomorrow. Don't wait until it's too late. Start now, take action, and let's walk this path of wisdom and health together. Because in the end, the power to live longer and stronger is already in your hands, and it begins with one simple test.